With nearly 600 procurement and accounting heads expected to submit details of their earthly possessions by this Friday, the vetting process is intended to focus on their financial status, keen on identifying officials that may have cheated their way to wealth. But the Kenya Institute of Supplies Management feels the spotlight should not just be on these officers.
So after the vetting of heads of procurement and accountants, we expect that for you to read the entire chain of corrupt people or people who are actually doing malpractices, you should vet everybody in that chain, at least the heads of those units, departments within the organization. Then at that stage you can say, yes, we've gotten rid of quite a big chunk.
According to the Public Procurement and Disposal Act of 2015, the procurement process begins when a unit within a government department expresses a need. A tender document is then drafted and suppliers invited to express interest. Once they respond and are informed of required considerations, they submit bids. The procurement entity then evaluates submissions of interested suppliers based on what had been advertised. An ad hoc committee appointed by the accounting office of the relevant department, like a CEO, then evaluates bids presented. The procurement officer must give their professional advice before a decision is made. The selection and award then happens, paving way for the lucky supplier to deliver goods or services. But that's not all. An inspection and acceptance committee is by law required to evaluate what has been delivered to assess whether it's in the right quantity, as well as the technical standards defined in the tender contract. This process then showing involvement of not just the procurement heads or their officers. For the accounts department, the head of accounting is required to advise on the costing works matched against the budget. They also have the final word on who gets paid when. Still, procurement officers reign supreme. The head of procurement sits in any tender evaluation committee formed by the accounting officer. Section 47, subsection 2 of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2015 provides, quote, "The head of procurement function shall, among other functions under this act, be responsible for rendering procurement professional advice to the accounting officer." End of quote. But KSM sees that function as not always respected.
You can give a final opinion to the CEO, and it's a correct opinion, and the CEO overturns it or refuses to follow it. You have your final opinion. In this vetting, what will save many officers is the fact that I gave you my final opinion. This is it. You did something else. Who can fault you for that?
With the initial vetting process at accounting and procurement heads, the law lays responsibility on more officers. Section 45, subsection 5 of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2015 states that for the avoidance of doubt, all public officers or state officers involved in procurement or asset disposal processes shall bear responsibility for their actions and omissions. The responsibility even further shared as per Section 69, subsection 6 that provides, quote, "The responsibility for each approval made in the procurement procedure shall rest with the individual signatories and accounting officer, whether he or she delegated the authority or not." End of quote.
We are saying these people are important, but they are not alone.
It's not in doubt that they play a critical role in the procurement of services and goods within government. However, the vetting exercise and ultimate suspension of officers found not fit to continue serving will only be a small cog in a large web of procurement within which corruption thrives. Sam Getuko, TV, Nairobi.